Hey everybody, video number one for moles and stoichiometry. I don't know, this is unit four or something. Bonding was three, right? Unit four, moles and stoichiometry. I'm going to call this moles and stoich. Stoich for sure. I'm going to use that term every day. So here's the big idea coming up at you live. Ready? Atoms combine in whole number ratios to form compounds and molecules. So this is, if you look at the Fe2O3, I need three O's to combine with two Fe's to make that molecule. And on the other side, I see I need two O's for every one C to make that molecule. So first, to make molecules, they combine in those whole number ratios, 2 to 3 in the first case, 1 to 2 in the second case. And then this unit's going to go into what we learned last unit was how to make molecules. And this unit, we're going to say, well, if I take this molecule and I take this molecule and I put them together, what happens now? And then this reaction is going to form. And so I can also make a ratio of molecules react in whole number ratios to form new molecules and compounds. So I can make a connection there. And that's what these coefficients are all about. So it says I need two of the Fe2O3s to react completely with three of the Cs. So that's a 2 to 3 ratio. You see that? So that's one of the big overarching ideas is the numbers that we use to put these things in are very important. I can't do partial numbers. I can't take two Fe's and have it combined with 2.5 oxygens. It's got to be whole numbers. And then it's specifically got to be three because we learned about the charge cancellation so that the whole thing works out to zero, which we learned last unit. Okay. And then this idea is going to lead us into this fabulous world of being able to count atoms by massing them. So, in other words, by putting them on the scale. And this particular picture is basically the entire unit. We need to be able to go from one thing to the other, and we're going to do a lot of converting in this unit. So 1 mole is that number 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. It's an enormous number. You just need to know it's a number. I can convert 1 mole into liters. I can convert it into grams, and I can go backwards and forwards, and I can go in all directions. Once you give me a little bit of information, I can go absolutely bananas, and we are going to have a bananas filled unit. Okay, on to the learning targets. Let's try and get this video done and shorter. Of course, we'll start with our specialized vocabulary. That's next video. Then we move on to defining the mole as the basic unit of measure. Okay, it is just a number. It's not just a date we celebrate or a critter that burrows under the ground. Then we're going to count moles of atoms in a chemical formula and moles of molecules in an equation. So then we'll learn how to apply it in written form. Then we're going to do something with it, actually. We're going to, the number of moles of atoms of each type in a chemical formula to determine the gram formula mass. So that's when the real deal Holyfield starts. First, we learn how to count atoms, and then we apply counting atoms. Gram formula mass. That's going to be our ticket into 1 mole versus grams. Then we're going to get into a little bit of dimensional analysis to convert between the two. So if I can go from moles, I can go to grams and then to liters, and I can convert back and forth, which is the same thing as saying, well, 1 mile is 2,136 feet. The same measure, but a different number because of a different unit. Okay. We're going to analyze percent composition. This will be lab. You will have a blue powder, and you're going to have to cook off the water, remass it, and tell me how much water was there, and then come up with the gram formula. The formula, how many waters were there per actual unit of stuff. It's good. You'll be able to do that. I'll actually get to do a little bit with Smarties too. We're going to use mole subscripts to convert molecular formulas into empirical formulas. So empirical formulas is a concept that always seems to come up, and that's just lowest common denominator. We'll get into that. Balancing equations. Here we go. Law of conservation of mass states that matter cannot be created or destroyed, but simply rearranged. We will use that to balance equations, which is always fun, and it's a little bit tedious. But it's definitely better than drawing molecules as far as how fast students can figure it out. Mole ratios is the actual stoich now. Stoichiometry, when we showed that picture before that I needed 3 to 2, or in your case 3 to 2, made something in 3 carbon dioxides. So those ratios of those molar coefficients help me predict how much I'm going to make if I have a different amount to start with, which is a lot of fun. And you can get very, very specific now. Classify chemical reactions. We'll learn about the 4 different kinds. There's a POGL on this about going to prom. Let me give you an example quick. Synthesis. 2 people go to prom, not together. At prom, they hook up. Synthesis. You need to be able to make a correlation to what kind of a reaction that is. Okay. And here is our unit checklist for the entire unit. There is 11 videos, and there are 2 POGLs. First POGL is that GFM, gram formula mass POGL. This next one is the reactions. So that's all based on prom, and there's a percent comp lab, and that is the unit. It does look a little thicker, but notice from page 40 to 54 is either Regents questions or reflection time. So a lot of the paper devoted to this unit is to you reflecting. Please, I implore you, if you need to, after homework 3, go to the back to write your summary, do that then. But too many kids are leaving it blank, and it's kind of driving me nuts. I'm not going to lie. That reflecting on the learning target in previous years has been students' fabulous way to study for the test. So if you want to wait and use it to study, fine, but not doing it is costing so many of us so many points because I'm weighting it heavy because we're not doing it. So we need to start doing it, and then I'll be happy and you'll do well. And that's about it for this video. So see you guys in class tomorrow.